So good morning, everybody, and welcome to, as I say, a presentation with regards to data scraping pitfalls and GDPR compliant list, making sure that your marketing's safe and effective when you're actually doing email marketing. So an overview of today, what we'll be actually doing is doing an introduction about Data Bubble and Steve, identifying the problems, who the problem relates to, the challenges that are actually involved, our solution, and then buyer persona, and then conclusion with questions and answers. So as I say, if you've got any questions, by all means, put them in the chat and I will answer them. If I've not answered them in the presentation, I will definitely answer them at the end. So who are we? Welcome, Data Bubble. That's me and Steve on the right-hand side. We went to Hong Kong this year for our 20th wedding anniversary. So yeah, that's us at Disneyland. We absolutely love Disney, absolute nuts. Big kids is what I'd like to turn around and say. But yeah, we've actually been married 20 years this year. Yay! With regards to Data Bubble, I set Data Bubble up 15 years ago, and that's why the 15 in the middle. So it's 15 years that I set up Data Bubble, and Steve actually joined Data Bubble 12 years ago now. Basically, he was working for a banking organisation, and he turned around to me and says, I'm fed up, I'm bored. And jokingly, I said, come and work with me. And he went, yeah, okay. And I went, oh, so be careful what you wish for, careful what you say. The next slide on is dogs. Our dogs, I've got to have every presentation with our dogs. I've actually got 3 dogs now. Unfortunately, one of them has actually passed in January. But yep, there we are, dogs in the awning with our caravan, and that's what we like to do on a weekend. It's a nice, relaxing time to get away from work. So that's a little bit of personal information about us. So why companies actually use data and why they use it for outbound marketing. The challenge is that people actually want new contacts. So therefore they tend to find that they want to grow the business. They've got a potential new product to launch. They want to promote the services to a wider area, wider network. And they want to get new clients, and it's brand awareness. And they want to get that competitive edge. So that is the reasons why people actually use data for outbound marketing. So who has these challenges? You find that business owners are actually there wanting to grow the business. They tend to find that they small to medium-sized companies that are turning around and saying, right, okay, we actually want new clients. They may have just lost a client, but they actually want to grow the business, so therefore they want new clients. Sales professionals, again, they're turning around, they want to hit the targets. They want to make sure that they are getting the bonuses and making sure that they get new sales. And then you find that marketing professionals, again, what they use outbound marketing data for is to promote their business, brand awareness, as well as then grow the company. Or they might have a new product to launch that turn around and say, right, okay, we're pivoting a little bit. We don't actually have any new products, or we don't have any new data for this particular campaign. So therefore, we want to purchase, or we want to get some new data. So what are the options? They can scrape data. So there are a few assumptions surrounding data scraping. People often think that it's quick. They think it's easy option. They think it can be cheap. And they think that it's common practice, that a lot of people actually do it. And they also think that there's vast amounts of data available. And because it's on the web, it's publicly available. So, yeah, let's have a look at that. The risks with regards to scraping data. Now, there are various ways that you can actually, or various places that you can actually scrape data. You can scrape data from Facebook, LinkedIn, directories, web pages, membership organisations that have got the details on there. But there are legal risks. and the legal risks with regards to LinkedIn, as well as then Facebook, it does violate their terms of service. So with regards to LinkedIn and Facebook, yeah, you can actually get kicked off. With regards to directories, again, often there are companies in there that are what's called seeded companies. And they are either companies that are report back to the list owner, that turn around and say, right, okay, this particular company is scraping information, and they are then violating the terms of service, the terms and conditions. So that's how companies do actually get caught out. Plus also, not only violates the terms of service, there's also copyright laws. And again, there's two scenarios that I'd like to introduce you to. Facebook, you might turn around and say, well, are they going to be really bothered about people scraping data? Yeah. There's Facebook Voyager versus Voyager Labs. It's a UK company. So again, it's not a kind of international thing that happens. It is worldwide. It is UK. And as it happens, this Facebook one is 2024. They were scraping information from Facebook with regards to the people that were actually on there. Not only did it violate the terms and conditions of service, but it also then became computer fraud, as well as then abuse, went through to the Abuse Act. I'll be honest with you, that's legal speak with regards to what penalties were, but as it happens, it got settled out of court. How much for? Not too sure, but it is there and it is present. So people do, big companies like Facebook do actually have teeth. The other one is LinkedIn versus HiQ. Now, again, that is over in America, but again, it found that they were breaching the terms and conditions and again, settled out of court. So these companies do actually have teeth. They're not mucking about. So yeah, just a warning. The additional risks, in particular with UK and EU, there's GDPR. There's also then PECR with regards to using that, collecting, storing, managing and using that particular data. Fines for abuse of PECR up to 500,000. And again, with regards to GDPR, it's 17.5 million or 4% of global turnover. The other challenges that I would actually like to mention with regards to scraping data, it's not targeted. If you actually go onto Google Pages, you can then see that it's a training company. You can get the name and the address, potentially the telephone number. You can actually potentially look to see whether there's an email address. However, you don't know how many employees there are. You often don't know who to actually contact within the company. The email you tend to find tends to be a generic email address. With regards to LinkedIn, the statistics are that 35% of people on LinkedIn are not active. So therefore, their email addresses aren't correct. I tried to get some statistics with regards to how many people actually put a business email address or a personal email address. Now, if you're anything like me, I actually have my contact details is joe.databubble@gmail.com. Reason being is that I know that people who are scraping data, that's a personal business, it's a personal email address, is the Gmail. So again, I couldn't get any statistics. The only statistics that I could actually get is 30 to 35% of people are inactive that are actually on LinkedIn and they don't keep their information so up to date. So you are relying on other people keeping the information up to date. Again, with regards to directories, you may know the name, the address, the company name and address, but do you actually have an email address? Do you have a contact name? Do you know the size of the company? And again, similar with web pages. If you turn around and scrape information from a web page or from a web directory, you don't have the full, complete information. There's also the invasion of privacy. I know that in the past, I've actually been speaking to a membership company that wanted to, they had the members actually on their website, and it was independent financial advisors, and you actually had the full details regarding the independent financial advisor, it's potentially an invasion of privacy. And if you do actually use the data for email marketing in particular, then you're potentially looking at damaging your own reputation. And then there's technical skills. Again, you can actually get blocked by your internet service provider if you get caught actually screening data. So that's nothing to do with the actual lists. That's to do with your own internet service provider. And plus, a lot of companies do actually have the capture where you have to do a little sum, or you have to do a picture and tick which picture's the right way around. And again, that can be a challenge to actually overcome. And again, the security. A lot of people do actually scrape data for phishing information, for spoofing as well. So risks, yeah, it is quite risky. So the process, it can be complicated to set up. There can be charges with regards to API. So whether you're actually matching it against then, so like Google, you're then matching it against company's house information, you're then matching it against other software to actually draw in additional information to create a full company record. So again, with regards to the accuracies and verification, I've already mentioned the data scraping details regarding the Google, the web pages, LinkedIn directories as well. That it's then being able to identify which directories you actually want. Is it viable? And again, it's then once you've actually scraped that information, it's then making sure you do additional checks that turn around and say you might actually have a company name and a postcode, but then it's actually adding on additional information. It's verifying that information is correct. With regards to timescales, it can be quite complicated, and you've got to invest a lot of time to actually set up the process of scraping the information. One of my clients that turned around to me and said that he'd actually set it all up, and he found that every record that it was actually got, it was scraping, so like thousands and thousands of records, and every record that was a validated record, it was costing him £1.20 per record, which personally I think is very expensive. So the benefits of purchasing a GDPR compliant list. All the data that we provide is GDPR compliant. You do actually find that list owners and companies that are legitimate do actually have a legitimate process and ethical standards in place when they do actually collect and maintain data. Again, with regards to quality, you actually get the quality guarantee and you know that it's accurate. With regards to time, resources, often if you go to a list owner, a list broker like myself, you can get a list within a couple of hours. You also get additional support, and one of the questions that I do actually ask my clients is turn around and say, right, okay, how much is the average client worth to you? If that average client is worth under £50, then I turn around and do a question the fact, is it going to be actually worth it? And what I'll also then do is provide my professional opinions, support that you will actually get to actually use that data more effectively. So it's not just about thinking, right, I'm going to scrape that information. You do get additional support when you do actually speak to list companies, data providers. And again, this enhances your performance with regards to open rates because the data is clean, accurate, up to date, and it's being verified on a regular basis. Your marketing performance increases. And as I've mentioned before, you get quick turnaround times, and it's a better investment with regards to your budgeting for your marketing. So the data selections that you can actually make, and again, this is with regards to any list owner, list broker like myself, you can actually select on industry. Now you might turn around to me and say, well, I can select on industry on LinkedIn, but with regards to SIC codes, there are a lot of SIC codes. And not only that, a lot of SIC codes, you can actually then turn around and say, right, okay, break it down further. And you've got different codes that you can actually get and different industry descriptions. So, for example, it doesn't just turn around and say manufacturing or manufacturing of food. You can then target it really down to manufacturing of biscuits, manufacturing of soft drinks. So it can be really targeted. You can identify whether it's a head office. You can identify whether it's a branch. Again, location. You can also, with regards to location, I tend to find that a lot of people will turn around to me and say, I want a 50-mile radius of my particular postcode. So again, when you're looking at scraping data, you can't actually do that. Whereas when you do actually do data selections, that you can do. Size of company, number of employees. Again, on LinkedIn, you can turn around and say, right, okay, the number of employees is between 1 and 10, 10 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 1,000. They're quite rigid with regards to the selections, whereas if you use a list company, you can actually select 3 to 7 employees or 25 to 100 employees. It's entirely up to you as to what you actually want. And then you can actually go for the contact, whether that be the managing director, financial director, business owner, sales, marketing, IT. There's a list of around about 30 different job titles that you can actually go for. And again, there's the contact method, whether you actually want the name, the address, the telephone number, whether you want the email address. And again, when you're doing any data selections, if you're doing a telemarketing campaign, there's also TPS, telephone preference, or the corporate telephone preference register. The corporate telephone preference register is a list of companies that have turned around and says, I do not wish to receive any unsolicited sales calls or marketing calls. And again, that information isn't actually on any data that you scrape from LinkedIn, or if you do scrape it from Google, then do you know whether it's registered, whether any of that information, that telephone number is actually being registered? Plus, depending on the list, there's other variables that you can actually get. So you can get companies that have got a fleet car, a fleet van, HGV. You can also get the NHS information. You can then be very granular and go to different departments. So therefore, you could turn around and say, right, okay, I want the NHS and I want purchasing, and I want purchasing of IT equipment or IT information. So you can actually get quite granular with that particular database. Similar with a hotels database, you can turn around and say, right, okay, I want to select the number of beds within that particular hotel, or what facilities they've actually got within that particular hotel. So depending on the list does actually depend on the different criteria that you may actually want to select on. And there are a lot of different lists that you can actually go to or get information from to find that information out, because that is information that's collected by the list owners. There's my booking details there. Blessing will actually put it into the chat. By all means, let's have a chat with regards to any data that clients actually want. Not a problem. So, scraping data versus buying a list. We've already mentioned that there's compliance risks. It's risky and it can be quite expensive. With regards to using a list broker like myself, you get the compliance, you get the reassurance with regards to peace of mind. You also get guarantees. I guarantee all the data that I provide. If any emails do actually bounce, whether it be 5, 6, 7, 10 records, whatever it is, I've got a no quibble guarantee that I will turn around and say, right, okay, either replace, or I will actually replace them, or otherwise I'll provide you your money back depending on what you actually want. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to quibble over a couple of records that have bounced. I prefer to keep my clients happy and then provide that data. So with regards to that, it's a more cost-effective solution. And again, databases can actually start from 30 pence to 85 pence, depending on the particular list, which is a lot cheaper than with regards to the scraping of the data, So why use Data Bubble? I'm an independent. I have access to the whole market. So rather than going around and searching all different lists, come to me and I can actually take a brief from you, your client, or a brief from your clients, and then I would turn around and say, right, okay, that based on that, I would actually go to this particular list or this particular list. So it saves you money and it saves you time going around different lists with regards to what database you actually want. You've also got my expertise or Steve's expertise. We've been in the business for a lot of years. We know what different lists are. We know the pros and the cons for different lists, and we know which lists to avoid and which lists to actually use. As I've mentioned, we actually offer quality guarantees. You've got our expertise and reliability, and also we actually help you use that particular data. And again, I'm actually at the moment in the process of creating prompts, which I'm actually producing buyer persona prompts, as well as then offer prompts and email marketing prompts. And again, happy to actually discuss them at any point. You'll see later. So any marketing campaign starts with knowing your ideal client. Knowing your ideal client ensures that your marketing efforts are focused in on your ideal client. They're effective, they're relevant, and you are then able to create a message that resonates with that particular buyer persona or that particular industry. That allows that increases open rates. Because the thing is, what you're doing is actually creating a subject line as well as then a email body that's relevant and resonates with that ideal target market. It then increases your open rates. It builds trust and it builds loyalty. And it makes your email marketing more effective because you're appealing to their needs or their potential needs. So it's showing your offer. And as I've mentioned earlier, I do actually have I do actually create a buyer persona. Using chat, this is how you actually do it. You can use it on your desktop. You can download it on your mobile phone. So whether that be Android or iPhone. Now, the reason that I do actually use ChatGPT rather than others, there are others on the market. I appreciate that. It's just that 80% of people do actually use chat. So ChatGPT. So that's the reason that I actually use that. When you actually download chat, this is what it looks like. Now, again, I use the paid for version because I find that it gives you more relevant answers, and I do tend to find that it gives you better answers. You don't specifically have to you don't have to pay the I think it's $20 a month that I actually pay. You don't have to. There is a free version. So start off on the free version, have a play with it, see what you like. And then if you do actually want to increase that and you are tending to find that you are actually using a lot, then pay for the paid for version. I personally do find it's a lot better. Plus, if you notice on the bottom of the chat, it's got a little hook. That is where you can upload information like Excel spreadsheets to analyze an Excel spreadsheet. You can upload it to analyze, so like I've got a list of 180 spam words that you actually avoid when you're creating an email. So that's where I can actually upload that particular list of spam words, so that therefore I can then tell chat to do not include these spam words. So therefore it will then eliminate all them spam words, and that icon at the bottom is available for paid for versions, and that's where I do tend to find that it is of value and beneficial to go for the paid for version. So the current prompts, as I mentioned, I've actually got a prompt there that's understanding your ideal clients. It's understanding your ideal clients. What motivates them? What challenges do they actually have? You may think that you actually know what challenges they've got, but if you have got a prompt, then you can actually put in details regarding your ideal client, and then all of a sudden it might come up with something different. What motivates your buyers, and what are your buyer intentions? I've created another one that allows you to actually create offers for your business. And as I've mentioned, I've got one for email marketing and social media posts. Email tips for you when you do actually do email marketing. Always segment your list. Make sure that you do actually segment your list and tailor the message for each segment. Because the thing is, that means that you can actually create the subject line and the content that resonates with that segment. Be honest, be authentic. Use emojis sparingly. I personally don't like to see emojis on an email. Some people do. And again, similarly with pictures, I tend to find that if there's a lot of pictures or it's content heavy with a lot of pictures, that can actually get caught in spam traps. I personally use text messages when I'm trying to do email marketing, but that's my personal preference. But if you are going to use any pictures, then use them sparingly. Best practice when you're doing any outbound marketing: know your ideal client, so it's your buyer persona. Use targeted GDPR compliant business lists or lists. Use AI. And again, when I turn around and say use AI, it's not to turn around and use it verbatim, but actually be able to guide you and tweak your messages so that it's relevant to your clients or your ideal target markets. And I always say, like, copy and paste, and then say, right, okay, what information do I actually have to change? What can actually make different? So don't rely on AI as verbatim, but yeah, I do actually use AI. Create engaging emails. So that's your subject line and your content. Nobody wants to see a long, boring essay of emails. People aren't going to read it. Avoid spam traps. As I mentioned, I've got a list of 180 spam words. Happy to actually share them. By all means, book a one-to-one with me, and I'm happy to share that information. Again, use an email service provider with regards to when you're ever doing email marketing. And as always, test and measure. So the offer that I've actually got today is that I do actually do a prompt tutorial with regards to the buyer persona, and I'll show you the details with regards to the buyer persona. At which point, it's £59 for that hour's tuition, which I introduce you to chat. I then allow you to actually have a play with regards to using that. I'll show you the way that you can actually use that chat, that prompt. One testimonial I've got there is that using the prompts, that we're able to create 6 social media posts, which saved them over 3 hours worth of work. It's for me, it's a no-brainer. But having said that, if you want to spend 3 hours doing email, if you want to spend 3 hours doing social media posts, by all means. Other services that we do actually offer is business lists, which I've mentioned how we can actually select the business data. We also offer data cleaning. So if you've already got an existing database that you actually turn around, so it's full of duplicates, the addresses are incorrect, or there's not many email addresses on that particular data, then what we can actually do is add that information on. As I mentioned, I do AI prompts, create bespoke AI prompts if people actually want them as well. And we also offer print and direct mailing services. So I work with a printer that we can actually get your message out to individuals via post, as well as then companies via post. Yes, people are actually going back to direct mail. And again, I like to see our 37 Google rating reviews, 4.9. We've got more Google ratings than any business list or any other brokers in the UK. So yeah, hey, fantastic news. So that's the end of the presentation. I would definitely encourage you to book a 20-minute call with me. Let's have a chat. Let's have a conversation. Not only can I potentially show you the AI that I've created, but also if you do actually have any data requirements, by all means, book a call. So I'll open it up to the floor now to see whether there are any questions. So if you've got any questions, by all means, shout out, no problem. One question I do tend to get asked is when doing email marketing and you're using an email service provider, do you actually use a warm-up service? That is one I would recommend that you do. What's a warm-up service? Basically, if all of a sudden you've got an email marketing campaign and you're doing you're blasting out a couple of thousand emails all at once, you're gonna get potentially flagged as a spam, or you're gonna get flagged as, whoa, what's this? An email warm-up service provides that additional little drip feed. So therefore it does 10 a day, 20 a day, and it builds up gradually so that you're actually doing, you're warming up your email account, and you're warming up your email list, if you see what I mean. You're actually warming up your email address, and so therefore it just makes more, it allows you to be more get your open rates, gets your emails through. And again, with regards to email marketing, always use an email service provider, never use Outlook. Again, you potentially could get trapped within, you could get blocked by your internet service provider, and Outlook is not the place to actually do any email marketing. So any further questions?
I think on that kind of note, obviously you've just mentioned about Outlook. I think Outlook's limit is something, I want to say something like 2,000 emails a day to send. Yeah. Is there a email platform you recommend to send stuff through?
In the past, I've used Zoom Mail with regards to they offer 1,000 records free of charge to actually do email marketing. They also then offer email warm-up services. So that and the one thing that I like about them is that they're UK based and you can actually talk to them on the phone. Whereas I'll be honest with you, some American ones you do actually use and you go, I'm sat in chat, or it's wrong time of day. So that's who I do actually use. I don't get any commission or a referral. It's just them are the people that I do actually use. So I'll stop sharing that. So if there's no further questions, if there's anything else, by all means, give us a shout. And yeah, happy to actually have a one-to-one with everybody.